Hey everybody, Nick here. It's Thursday night, and we are on the Davis Park Church of Christ YouTube channel. And I'm pre recording this from a different location because of technical difficulties. My computer does not want to run the software that we stream from, so I'm going to have to troubleshoot that and hopefully figure out something before Monday. So tonight, Buddy was gracious enough to let me use his computer that has the software loaded in there, and I've done my best to kind of put stuff in here so that I could do something tonight. Buddy is engaged elsewhere at this hour, and so here we go. I want to talk about the name Yahweh. If you've been at church, you know I'm a real big fan of the name of God, Yahweh. Jehovah is an anglicized version of it that comes to us via the German. And so the Tetragrammaton, which you see it here on your screen, there at the beginning of Sarah Bellum's little post here, Yod Hey Wow Hey, it translates or transliterates to YHWH for us. But that Yod there makes a Y sound, but courtesy of the German, it gets anglicized to J. H does have that H sound. There's debate about, is it Wow or is it Vav? And depending upon which pronunciation school you go with, I subscribe to the Wow. So it corresponds to our W, and then H there is the Hey. Yod Hey Wow Hey. Have you noticed how many current urban legends there are about the name Yahweh? Here's one that caught my attention. This is actually from the Word by Word blog written by Dr. Mark Ward. And he is actually dealing with this specific one. Tell me if this sounds familiar. In the Hebrew language, letters are symbols. And Yahweh is how the Jews spell Yahweh, the proper name of God. The symbol in the Hebrew language for an H is the word behold. The symbol for the Y is a hand. And the symbol for the W is a nail. So the name, Yahweh, means, behold the nails in my hands. And so here's what it looks like, Yod Hey Wow Hey in Hebrew. There's your Yod, it's by the way, it's backward for us, right? So from right to left, Yod Hey Wow Hey. So a nice little graphic there. And so Dr. Ward is responding to a friend who had a question. Do we define the word by the individual meaning of the letters? And Dr. Ward does a very good job here, and you can go look this article up. It's on the landing page for the Word by Word blog. Just got to scroll down a little bit. Anytime I encounter claims about the secret meaning in the Hebrew or Greek, especially those employing some kind of apparently consistent linguistic method, I like to see where that method takes me. If it takes me to consistent insight, and insight that persuades other judicious interpreters, then it probably reflects something about how God made language or how he inspired the Bible. So he applies this method, right? Okay, so you have these letters and they correspond to this meaning. Well, under the rule as stated, the meaning of YHWH, Yod Hey Wow Hey, would actually be hand behold, nail behold. Where's the my and the come in? Not sure. And so this is the true meaning right here of Yod Hey Wow Hey. But then also there's another very common Hebrew word which has Yod Hey Yod Wow as the root letters. It usually gets translated as and it came to pass, or sometimes just when. Sometimes it's not translated at all. And it would mean nail hand behold hand. And on it goes. Adonai he uses here would be ox door serpent hand. And then also the longest word in Hebrew would be something like, there's a papyrus plant in the window, goad yourself with the fish hook in your hand. All right, so I guess that's the deep theological meaning there, right? You can dig into papyrus and all that. Last but not least, if you took the whole first sentence of the Bible in Hebrew, Genesis 1:1, it really means the house's head ox had a tooth in his arm, marked with a house head ox in fact. And an ox goad in the window had a hand on the water ox, but mark well, the window tooth also had a water arm, a water hook, and an ox mark window. Ox heads are papyrus planes. Well, obviously you can see it lends itself to absurdities, and this simply will not do. It's so much, what shall we call it? Christian urban legends, so much speculative linguistics. I don't know. But that's not the only one, right? Have you heard the one that's been circulating recently about the name Yahweh is written in our very DNA? And there's all kinds of talk about nucleic acid, nucleic acids, nuclide. By the way, someone exposed a lot of this, that the words, the terminology is actually nonsensical. It doesn't even mean anything scientifically, biologically, or any of that. And they've done 10, 5, 6, 5 for some reason, those numbers. Again, just so much more of this speculation, right? It's written in our DNA. Well, actually, and someone has demonstrated, and I've got the article to demonstrate this one as well. That's not the way language works, not the way DNA works. A lot of the stuff that's mentioned here is just nonsensical. There's also one more. This one was popularized by Becky Crow by way of the Pneuma series by Rob Bell. I believe it was Rob Bell who was the first one to actually make this little connection here. You probably heard about this. This is powerful, says the Post. There was a moment when when Moses had asked God what his name is. God was gracious enough to answer, and the name he gave is recorded in the original Hebrew as YHWH. Over time, we've arbitrarily added an A and an E in there to get Yahweh. First of all, it's not true. Again, I've got another article that was put together by another linguistic scholar, Dr. Chris Bird. There it is. I knew it would come to me if I just thought about it enough. And he's like, arbitrary. It wasn't an arbitrary thing to add the A and the E there, or even the vowel pointings there concerning the A and the E in Hebrew. Languages follow certain rules, linguistic rules, just like English does. And so, according to the Hebrew, the most likely vowel pointing for this would have been to include the vowel pointing for what corresponds to our A and our E in their appropriate spots. Yahweh. You have here on the screen about the matris lectionis, and used to indicate particular vowels that were not present when Moses actually sat down, put pen to parchment. You see, Hebrew, and this is how language evolves over time. Hebrew was and is a consonantal language. It's composed of, and indeed the whole Hebrew alphabet is consonants, no vowels. You point the words with vowel points. And so the exact original spelling has been kind of lost to time. But utilizing the linguistic rules and following the rabbis, it would seem that the proper vowel pointing is not arbitrary. It's actually intentional, following linguistic standards. So there is that. But anyway, presumably we have a preference for vowels. No, it's preference. That's not the way language works. Again, this whole thing is just made up. But scholars and rabbis, etc., etc. So what is being said here? Yahweh represents breathing sounds. Have you heard this one? Or aspirated consonants. When pronounced without intervening vowels, it actually sounds like breathing. And so, Yahweh. Inhale, exhale. I don't know. That's again, this is urban legend Christianity. This is what you get when people are looking for these secret meanings, and they're looking to be in on these secret meanings. and to be ahead of the curve and to know something that someone else doesn't know, right? That's what this all boils down to, really. It has absolutely no basis in linguistics or anything like that. It's not the way that language works. Excuse me. Here we go. All kinds of stuff. At any rate, so this particular article continues. So a baby's first cry. Listen, I've got 3 little boys. I've heard them cry, and never once when they were crying did I hear them. He said Yahweh. No, I want to put earplugs in. I want to put headphones on so I don't have to hear this because it's so loud, right? It doesn't sound like Yahweh or however this is supposed to sound. It just, his first breath speaks the name of God. Well, a deep sigh. Did you hear it? Yahweh, right? No. Calls his name a groan, a grasp. Look, again, it sounds so, I don't know, enlightened. But it's, again, just so much speculation. As you're filling your lungs, you're somehow involved in this secret name of Yahweh. On and on it goes. I want to point these out and hopefully point out just the erroneous thinking behind them. These are, as Dr. Mark Ward calls it, these are absurdities. This is not the way language works. It's not the way that God intended for his name to be used, which is a serious thing. I have here for us from my English Standard. If I were at my computer, I'm grateful to Buddy for letting me use his computer, but if I were at my computer, and gee, I thought I had put in the reference here. I think that's easily rectified. There we go. You would see here I would have the English Standard. Great. That did not do what I wanted it to do. 1 second. I can fix this, I think. Yeah, here we go. Pardon me. Again, I appreciate you bearing with me as I'm using different devices here because of my computer. There we go. Problem solved. All right, Exodus 20 from the English Standard. God spoke all these words. I am the Lord. And anytime you see Lord in all caps, as I've told you before, that is the name of God. It's the Yod-He-Waw-He. In fact, maybe not. Maybe I can't do it here. Do I even want to try this? No, I'm not going to do it. I was going to show you the Hebrew, but that's all right. Take my word for it. And the translators, they translated it this way in order to show this is the name of God. When you come across Lord, capital L, lowercase O-R-D, that is the term Adonai. Okay, but here, I am the Lord your God, Yahweh your God, who brought you out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of slavery. You shall have no other gods before me. Don't make anything that looks like me. Verse 4. Don't bow down to him, anything like that. There's verse 7 that I'm interested in. You shall not take the name of Yahweh your God in vain. There's a lot of different ways this could be understood. But if I may, these Christian urban legends about the name of Yahweh, they sound neat and interesting, but they are so much vain speculation. And so I think we need to be careful about how we view the name of God, how we utilize it. It was not intended to be, you're trying to discover some kind of secret code in the biblical language or in the biblical name. The name of God, we know what it means. It points to his ever existence. It also points to his covenantal nature. Yahweh is the covenantal name of God. It points to his loyalty to the covenant. It points to the fact that he will always and forever, eternally be loyal to his covenant, even when we are not. And so, again, we need to have a high respect for God's name and recognize it according to biblical parameters. Nowhere in the Bible do you get this stuff about Yahweh or hand, what was it? Behold hand, behold nail, or whatever it was, right? I forget now. But anyway, I got it backward there. Hand behold, nail behold. There it is. Because you have the haze there that's supposed to... And again, I don't know where that stuff comes from. Maybe it has some root in history or fact. I don't know. I don't know where these Bible codes come up, where they come up from with, these letters match these certain things and all that. We need to be people who reverence God's name. And this is a very serious thing because the Lord, Yahweh, will not hold him guiltless who takes his name in vain. And so, again, we are people who honor the name. I do think with a high degree of certainty, reasonable certainty, that Yahweh is the proper pronunciation. If you want to say Jehovah, more power to you. All right. That Va, that V, that's a modern innovation in terms of pronunciation of Hebrew letters. From what we know, it was a W sound. It was a W sound. Way, right? So, but again, more power to you. That's all right. I prefer Yahweh, and whenever I come across these Christian urban legends, and I've seen even sometimes my brothers and sisters catch hold of these, and wow, this is interesting. As gently as I can, I come along and say, actually, I don't think that's what we're supposed to pull from this. It's just his name. And so let's keep that in proper perspective. Okay, man, I do not have anything else here. I don't have the prayer list. I'm sorry about that. I want to encourage you on your own to grab the prayer list. It gets emailed out. It's in the bulletin. And just work through the prayer list there on your own. And I invite you to do that this evening as well. Because that's going to have to do it for me. Because, again, I'm limited in what I can do just because this is tech that is someone else's. And with that comes certain limitations that I don't have if I were on my own computer. And if you're out there and you know about OBS stuff, OBS Studio, and how I can fix this, I'm all ears. I've only started to research some of the fixes, and hopefully I can do some workarounds here and figure that out. But yeah, that is going to have to do it for me this evening. The Lord bless you. The Lord keep you. The Lord cause his face to shine upon you and be gracious. May God richly bless you, my beloved siblings. Until next time, God bless.